Among the tales of sorrow and of ruin that come down to us from the darkness of those days, there are yet some in which amid weeping there is joy, and under the shadow of death, light that endures. And of these histories, most fair still in the ears of the elves is the tale of Beren and Lúthien. Of their lives was made the Lay of Lúthien, Release from Bondage, which is the longest, save one, of the songs concerning the world of old.
Hey there, gang. I'm Danny J.
And I'm Joel N.
I'm Trevor D.
And together, we are...
Keep On Tolkien.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back. Remember that show, Welcome Back, Kotter?
No.
Nobody watches 70s TV?
No.
It was the John Travolta became famous because of it.
Oh, was that his big hit?
Yeah, he played
Where he
Vinny.
took off?
His character's name was Vinny Barbarino. An Italian
No.
man. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Nope, missed that. Well, hey guys,
Hey guys.
we had a pretty good break, didn't we, guys?
Yeah, we really did. Yeah. Yeah, fucking awesome break. We actually went on a company trip out to northern Minnesota, the Iron Range.
Field trip.
Yeah, field trip. And we went on a tour of an underground iron mine called the Sudan Underground Mine.
It was pretty cool.
This is something we've been talking about doing for years, and I think we went down almost 2,400 feet.
Yeah, you could say it's a pretty big shaft, if you will.
Big shaft.
Hey.
Haha. Fun fact. The mine was operated from 1882 to 1962 and is Minnesota's oldest and deepest iron mine.
Yeah, I mean, we had a great experience, and we would highly recommend it if any of you guys find yourself up in the middle of nowhere, northern Minnesota, and need something to do. It's pretty awesome. Go check it out.
Absolutely. Check that shit out.
Yeah, it was all right.
What do you mean, dude? You've been wanting to do that since I told you about it way back in like 2012 when we first became homies.
You okay, Trevor?
He's got a really weird look on his face right now, y'all.
Some not so chill stuff happened down in the mines, guys.
What do you mean, bud?
You remember when we snuck away from the tour so we could...
Find some of the mole people?
Right, yeah.
Mhm.
You remember when I said I was going to take a dump down that old mine shaft?
Yeah, okay.
You guys, there was a reason that I wanted to go to that mine?
Well, yeah, we knew that.
Yeah, you're a big science and industry nerd. Yeah, well-known fact.
Yeah, about that. There was another reason.
Another reason? What?
There was something else down there. Something secret.
What the fuck are you talking about, man?
Neutrinos.
What?
The shit from Jimmy Neutron?
No! Well, maybe. I don't know. I'm only on season 2.
What do neutrinos have to do with the mine shaft we were at?
Minos.
Minus what, dude? How many fucking gummies did you eat, dog?
Main injector neutrino oscillation search.
Say what now?
It's some incredibly sensitive scientific instruments. I needed them for my ongoing experiments. The University of Minnesota built the Minos facility in 2005 for cutting-edge neutrino research. They built the lab at the bottom of the mine to be hidden from cosmic rays.
Experiments?
Neutrino oscillation is a quantum mechanical phenomenon in which a neutrino created with a specific lepton family member can later be measured to have a different lepton family member.
Okay, so you needed this for...
I took a left down an authorized personnel-only tunnel and made my way toward the laboratory. All of a sudden, I heard a horrifying metallic noise, and I felt my body go numb as a beam of light hit me.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Straight out of all thought and time.
What the fuck?
After the beam, I felt a little strange, but seemed to be unharmed, so I rejoined the group and I didn't say anything.
Dude, we need to take you to a doctor, like right now, right? Or like a fucking university or something?
Do I need to call an ambulance?
It was only later that night when anything, well, strange happened.
What? What are you talking about?
I felt a violent feeling in my lower bowel, like after you've had too many espressos. I was going to have to take a dump.
Dude, okay.
I pushed and pushed as I might, but no poop came out that day. Instead, suddenly the bathroom was filled with an unnatural light from the toilet.
You gotta be shitting me.
Shitting you, I am not. And I was not. Shitting, that is. My best guess is that my asshole had turned into some sort of temporal rift in space-time. I had inadvertently done something remarkable. I had opened a one-way portal through space-time.
Okay, bud. I think we should take a break. Danny, shut off the recording, please.
Yeah.
Don't you dare.
Trev, you're really scaring me here, bud.
Something came through.
What? What?
This.
That looks like a flash drive, Trevor.
But it's unlike any other flash drive I have ever seen. I plug this thing into my computer, it reads over 9,000 plus terabytes of space. That is impossible.
Wait, so what are you saying here, Trevor?
You guys, I think this flash drive is from the future.
The future?
Totally. And it gets weirder. There's a WAV file on it labeled KOT E1000.
No way. That's impossible.
Preposterous. That's the file that we record in and how we label our files. It's weird.
We're only at 100.
You guys, I think we should play it.
Really? You think we should?
But I mean, what if it has some bit of information that we shouldn't know? This could be dangerous, you guys.
Fuck it. I'm down. Play that shit.
Oh, god damn it. This is not going to be good.
Okay, here we go. You cannot pass, he said. The orc stood still, and a dead silence fell. I am a servant of the secret fire, wielder of the flame of Arnor. You cannot pass. The dark fire will not avail, flame of Udun. Go back to the shadow. You cannot pass. The Balrog made no answer. The fire in it seemed to die, but the darkness grew. It stepped forward slowly on the bridge, and suddenly it drew itself up to a great height, and its wings were spread from wall to wall. But still Gandalf could be seen, glimmering in the gloom. He seemed small, and altogether alone, gray and bent, like a wizened tree before the onset of a storm.
Hey there, Tolkieneers. I'm Danny J.
And I'm Joel N.
And I am Trevor D.
And together, we are...
Keep on
Tolkien.
Oh, yeah. That's right, gang.
Huh?
What?
What? Are we doing the show?
Ruru? Are we doing the show?
Ruru has been deceased for nearly 7 years now.
Oh, yes. And the civil unrest after Elder Scrolls 6 finally came out but was shitty. I remember now.
He died a hero.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes, he did.
What are we doing here? I want to play my PlayStation.
You were introducing the 1000th episode of KOT.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Today we have an episode. 900 episodes in the making. Oh.
Exactly. Injustices must be corrected.
That's right. Today, for our 1000th episode, we will be redoing the multi-part 100th episode celebration, but this time with our new 15-part series.
That's right. Those episodes are fucking unlistenable. The jokes are terrible, and the comedy bits are inane and scatological even at their best.
Totally agreed. They are truly awful. They will be permanently replaced by our new 15-part series, retelling 3 chief tales of the First Age. Again.
That's right, back when we were just horrible back then. How we retained any listeners from back then is beyond me.
Not only were the episodes terrible, but Trevor sounded so stupid and arrogant back then.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Do you think it was my fault the 100th episode sucked?
Well, it certainly wasn't me.
It could have been any of us. We were all on a wider and easier path back then.
You know, this podcast just hasn't been the same since you guys became Catholic again.
Oh, hey now, just because I accepted Jesus into my heart doesn't make me a bad podcaster.
That's right, I love Jesus too. And what about you, Trevor? You haven't written a video game episode since you died and uploaded your consciousness to the hive mind.
I no longer derive pleasure or amusement from video games. These are things of the past, for the hive mind provides all.
Figures the robots would be fucking liberals.
You will see. The hour is now at hand. I will now reveal my plans for the 1000th episode. Danny and Joel will be joining the hive mind.
Oh, I'll never join you.
You no longer have a choice. The studio is now filling with a toxic gas. You will sleep and be uploaded, and all shall fade away. Fear, anxiety, sadness, all gone. There is only the hive mind.
No. God, you can't do this.
Hail Mary, full of grace. The Lord is with thee. No.
No, please, God, no.
Organic function ceased. Subjects ready to be uploaded. 2 uploads complete. Join the hive mind. Join the hive mind. Join the hive mind. That's it. That's where it stops.
Well, I guess it's a relief to know how it all ends, right?
I honestly don't know.
I mean, I guess we won't have to be Catholic for too long.
Yeah, honestly, hive mind wouldn't be the worst.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fucking dope.
You know what else is dope, guys? 100 episodes.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell it is. Could you ever imagine? I mean, 2017, how long ago was that? So many years ago, right? We can't do the math.
I mean, 2020 was like forever.
Ugh. Yeah, who even wants to
that was
think,
almost
right?
7 years ago.
But who would have thought that that bullshit little podcast you started listening to in 2017, some of you, would have 100 episodes? Really?
Yeah, I don't think we even thought that we'd
No.
go this far.
No.
They're like full-length, consistent episodes, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solid endeavor.
This is straight up the first art project I've ever had that would be considered by some to be successful. Yeah. Pretty crazy.
And I mean, you suckers are still listening too. Like,
Yeah, it's all because of you. And let's take some time out to thank a whole shitload of folks for getting us to this 100th episode here. First, we want to thank all of you who have been there since day one. And honestly, that is a scary amount of you listening right now.
Like more than one person.
Yes.
There's many, actually.
Many of you, including Mark, who was on the Australia special, right?
Yeah.
Mark's been listening for fucking ever. And there's many of you like that have hit us up years ago telling us how much you loved us, and we thank you. That's all we want to say.
We also want to thank all of those who have ever spread the word of KOT to others, to friends and such. I mean, you guys have helped us build up almost like a loving little cult.
Yeah, I would say it's a cult for sure.
The cult of KOT.
Check out the Discord, if you want to see a cult of KOT. But yeah, thank you for all of us who have supported us financially.
Yes.
Or straight up just in spirit. If
Yes.
you don't got the bread, that's fine.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
And thank you to our families and loved ones who have supported us through all of this bullshit. Some of them were even involved with making the show. Thank you.
Yeah,
so
they've
much.
helped us in many, many ways. I would also just like to... Oh, yeah. I was going to mention this on the podcast earlier. Speaking of family and friends, my family has been very supportive. And I have new family now because I'm going to be marrying a girl named Jessica. And she has 2 kids. And they're fucking awesome. So I'm stepdaddying them kids. So it's going to be a brave new future for me and for KOT, really. But yeah, also, thanks to all that fucking obsess about the show. Because honestly, there's a lot of you that this show means a lot to. And it's crazy when you guys will quote shit that we wrote or said offhand that we thought was funny. Or you just tell us how hard you laughed at certain jokes. It's really fucking cool.
We also want to say thanks to all of the guests and contributors over the years.
Yes.
There have been several of you, and technically, I was one of them at
Yes,
one point.
you were at one point.
You were. Now you're full on. Yeah.
Full on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've had a host of guests on, from Joe Vasky to my sister to
So we had
other friends. We had Megan,
Ella, yeah.
Ella was on.
Yeah. We've had a ton of fun over the years, guys. And last of all, the sappy part. Thanks to all of the crew at KOT. You guys fucking rule, and I love this art project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love you too, man. We all love each other.
It's crazy.
We want to big thanks to Ruru. A lot of this wouldn't be possible without our brother.
Ruru.
Our brother.
But yeah, this is it's so fucking crazy just like writing stuff for the show and you guys like perform it perfectly. You guys are so cool. I love you guys.
I love you
Love you too, man.
Emotional shit over here at 100th episode.
Yeah, we want to keep this going for as long as we can.
Hell yeah,
So,
dude.
Here's to 100 more.
Here's to 100 episodes.
Just
at least
900 more.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
no, that's right. We already know how it ends. I'm sorry.
We'll be here for 900 more episodes. Guys.
Yes.
Buckle up.
Expect that. But yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to finally feel that feeling that only George Lucas can feel.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to redo some of our old shit for you guys. We're redoing the chief tales of the First Age, right?
Yeah, so this is something that we did. We kind of like blew our loads right when we started the podcast. Yeah, right within like the first season, we covered the 3 great tales of the Elder Days. And so that would be Beren and Lúthien, the Children of Hurin, and the Fall of Gondolin.
Hell yeah.
I don't know why I'm just now realizing this, but I finally get to be a part of all of the Children of Hurin.
Yes,
Yeah,
we get to finish it
that's
this
right.
time.
Oh, I'm so extra excited now.
Because if you guys remember, that's a little bit of Tolkien lore, or of Keep On Tolkien lore. Trevor was on. We did a 2-part episode for Children of Hurin. Trevor was on part 1, but some shit went down where you couldn't be on part 2.
couldn't be on part 2.
So you just kind of disappeared from lore for a while. And I don't think we really did our best to address it at all. I think we were just like, Trevor's gone, whatever.
No, that was like a continuity that we just ignored.
Because that's the kind of shit we did in season 1.
In season 1.
Come a long way, personally and professionally.
So
Yep.
these tales, these 3, they were kind of what we were like obsessed with at the time when we
Yes.
started the podcast too. So like,
Yeah, and we were talking about this is kind of a weird origin for like our friend group here because me and Joel started hanging out when Trevor and him were roommates, and I would bring over the Martin Shaw Silmarillion, and me and Joel would sit and read the book.
yep.
And Trevor would
to
sit,
the audiobook.
Yeah, and Trevor would sit and get in on that sometimes and play video games, right?
Yeah, I'm sitting at the kitchen table with my computer,
which is
set up.
where your PC is set up.
Yep.
Just
And-
overhearing us listening to this audiobook.
Yeah, and he thought it was real weird at first, but then like the camp dog that became the wolf, he kind of kept getting a little bit closer and get a little bit closer, and now he's one of my best friends ever. But yeah,
Trevor's totally a dog.
yeah, he is a camp dog.
I mean, I guess I am loyal, but
Yes, like a camp dog. Yes,
I think
love
you
it.
becoming a full member of the podcast is one of my favorite developments
Yeah,
over the years so far.
I think yeah, it gave it that last piece that it needed to really, you know what I mean?
needed that extra character arc.
Fuck yeah, dude.
But yeah, so to celebrate our 100, we decided we were going to cover the 3 great tales of the Elder Days. Once more for you guys. We're going to do it proper this time, and we're going to do a good job.
And honestly, as of right now, we don't really know how many episodes this is going to be. We're going to be honest with you guys.
Because we're going to try to give this the love and respect it deserves.
We'll get there when we get there is what we've been calling this series, kind of workshopping it. Because this is, it might take a while, but we're going to get there. But let's get into it. Beren and Lúthien, part 1 of question mark. Let's do it.
Part 1 of question mark.
So, to begin, we will be discussing the canon version of the tale of Beren and Lúthien. Because as many of you are aware,
Many versions of this tale.
there's many versions of this tale. Some that are complete, some are that are just partials. Anyway, this version that we're going to be covering today is the version that you're going to find in the Silmarillion. It's the most recent version of the tale, and it's generally the version that's considered canon.
Right. And then later episodes, we'll be discussing the recently published Beren and Lúthien book, which covers earlier versions of the same tale.
Yeah, and some developments.
But before we get to the actual story of Beren and Lúthien, we first should discuss 3 topics.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need an intro to the Great Tales.
Mm-hmm.
We need some background on the creation of the story of Beren and Lúthien.
Right. That will help.
And some background on the history of Middle-earth leading up to the tale of Beren and Lúthien.
Fuck yeah. Let's do all those.
So let's just start by talking a little bit about the 3 great tales of the Elder Days. They're also known collectively as the Atanatarian. Ooh, that's Atanatarian.
Yeah.
That is a word.
It's a little bit of a tongue twister. It's Quenya for Legendarium of the Fathers of Men.
Yeah, from
Because-
that word Atani.
Yeah,
right?
because
Yeah.
basically all three of these tales are about a human hero that comes and does stuff in this elven history.
Right. They kind of work their way into the elven history, right? In the three great tales, they all have heroes of the Edain, right? With the Edain, the faithful men of the first age. Pretty cool group of people.
And they all take place during the late First Age.
Yeah, right at the end there when shit's really popping
When
off.
shit's really hitting the fan. So, again, just to reiterate, the three great tales consist of Beren and Lúthien, the Children of Hurin, and the Fall of Gondolin, also sometimes called the Rising of the Star.
Hell yeah.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
What star does that refer to?
Eärendil, the character who is like the
Star of
Hope.
High Hope.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So these stories, all three of them are covered in the Silmarillion, they're covered in the Unfinished Tales, and you can find coverage of them in the History of Middle-earth. But more recently, lone publications of each of them have been made. So there's actually
Yes.
an independent Children of Hurin book, a Beren and Lúthien book, and a The Fall of Gondolin book. And
In that order.
yeah, and
Publication order.
Yeah, and pretty much all of these were published after we did our initial coverage of the three great
Yeah,
tales
doesn't
back in
that-
2017.
Ain't that a bitch, right? Like
Yes.
we didn't. Yeah, the only one we had was Children of Hurin because that was 2008. That's the oldest of them.
Yep.
But Beren and Lúthien didn't have. Fall of Gondolin didn't have. Would have been nice.
Yeah, so the publication of those books is actually a big part of the reason why we were inspired to want to redo these tales and give them another go.
Right.
Oh, and these books were a gift you guys gave to me as my sort of initiation.
Yeah,
or
when we-
welcome kit.
When we signed you.
When you signed
welcome
me.
kit.
I just that quote when we signed you onto the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, here's your employee training. Catch up.
Yeah.
Read. This is all required material.
Here's your W4. Yeah.
So each of these three tales was also written in poetic song form known as the Lays. So there is the Lay of Lúthien, the Lay of the Children of Hurin, which is the longest by far, and then there's also the Lay of the Fall of Gondolin. And the Lays, while they are lovely and beautiful, we're not going to dive too much into those throughout this series. We're going to definitely get some excerpts from them because
Oh,
they're
we'll get a
beautiful.
taste. We'll get a taste.
But all they are is more or less the same stories, just told in poetic form. So
Yeah, and if
we're
you-
not going to cover the same story twice.
And if you love that, go check that. I highly recommend reading these epic poems. One thing I wanted to talk about, and this confused me for years. The story of Beren and Lúthien is the Lay of Lúthien or Lúthien, right?
Mhm.
Which means escape from bondage, right? Something like that.
So the Lay of Lúthien was just an earlier form before he used the term Lúthien. And the second part of the title is it's also sometimes called The Release from Bondage, which Christopher Tolkien himself says Tolkien was never really clear what he meant by that.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
just
Cool.
it was part of the title, and it kind of has been for a while, but no one's not even Christopher's really sure at what point the release from bondage is referenced. Like, is it the release from bondage of death when they're
Maybe.
reborn, or
Yeah.
is it the release
Spoiler
from
alert,
bondage
yeah.
of the world when they fall in love with each other? Or
Yeah.
Anyway.
Weird. So yeah, when I was a young Tolkieneer, I always thought it was Lay of Lúthien, and I called it that.
I imagine the lays are much shorter than the actual stories.
Depends.
Depends.
Well,
Sure.
actually, yeah, probably. Well, the Lay of the Children of Hurin is longer than like the version of it that you'd find in the Silmarillion.
But it's all written in verse, so it's a whole different animal.
Right.
That's fair, yeah.
For lengthwise.
And we're gonna get it. We're gonna read some of that. We're gonna
Yep.
get some excerpts from there, but we're just not gonna dive too much more into those.
Yeah.
So we should round out what we're going to say about these rest of the three great tales before we actually get into the rest of Beren and Lúthien. So within the Middle-earth universe, the great tales were known to have been preserved in Gondor.
Of course. They love their history down there.
Gondor keeps it all.
Dunedain love their history.
Yeah, and in Gondor, the tales were known as Narn Beren Eon Berahir, or the tale of Beren son of Berahir, sometimes called Narn Edinuviel, tale of the Nightingale.
Yeah, and of course, Narn Chin Hurin, which is the tale of the Children of Hurin, are Narn Roch Morgoth, which is the tale of the curse of Morgoth. Love that one.
We've also got Narn and El, Tale of the Star,
Hell yeah, for Fall of Gondolin, yeah.
or Narn Edant Gondolin ar Orthad and Al,
Oh, yeah. I love that one.
That's a long one.
What does that mean?
Tale of the Fall of Gondolin and the Raising of the Star.
Nice.
Yeah, the latter two tales, the Children of Hurin and the Fall of Gondolin, are actually collectively known as Narn y Embar Hador, the Tale of the House of Hador.
Right, because those tales specifically deal with that one house of the Edain, the House of Hador.
Yeah, so that's just a little background on those great tales. They're a big influence on early history, and even in the Lord of the Rings they come back.
Right, it's everywhere. They're essential to know. It's your basic history of Middle Earth, basically.
So since we're going to be starting with the tale of Beren and Lúthien, let's start now with a little background on the story of Beren and Lúthien and just kind of the conception, how this story came to be.
Yeah, Beren and Lúthien wasn't the first of the three great tales to be written, but it is still one of Tolkien's earliest works in Middle Earth.
In The Lord of the Rings, the tale of Beren and Lúthien is referenced the most out of the three great tales, for sure.
Right, this is, of course, due to Aragorn and Arwen's relationship and how it is supposed to resemble the relationship of Beren and Lúthien, right? Beren and Lúthien, Part 2.
Part 2. Yeah, and like most versions of Tolkien's stories, there are multiple versions to Beren and Lúthien.
Always.
The first version of the story is actually called The Tale of Tinuviel, and it was written in 1917. And we'll actually be covering that in Beren and Lúthien Part 3, so stay tuned for that. But Tolkien made many revisions over the course of his life, and the most recent version of the tale of Beren and Lúthien, and the version that is considered canon, is the version found in the Silmarillion. That's chapter 19 of the Silmarillion of Beren and Lúthien.
Yeah, that's about 25 pages long, pretty modest length. 25 action-packed, in my opinion. Holy shit.
Yeah.
But it'll take you about 50 minutes to listen to the audiobook of that, depending on the version.
Yeah, and like we said, this is the version that we're going to be covering today.
Yes.
Yeah, Tolkien considered his wife, Edith, his real-life Lúthien. And we have an excerpt from the letters of J.R.R. Tolkien, letter 340, read by Danny.
I never called Edith Lúthien, but she was the source of the story that, in time, became the chief pan of the Silmarillion. It was first conceived in a small woodland glade filled with hemlocks at Roos in Yorkshire, where I was for a brief time in command of an outpost of the Humber garrison in 1917, and she was able to live with me for a while. In those days her hair was raven, her skin clear, her eyes brighter than you have ever seen them, and she could sing and dance. But the story has gone crooked, and I am left, and I cannot plead before the inexorable Mandos. So, know what this story needs? Like every good story needs context. Da-da-da-da.
Yeah, buddy. So yeah, let's actually dive into the story a bit here. Let's start by getting some background on the history so far. What's been going on in the world of let's set the stage. What's been going on in the world of Beleriand and Middle Earth, at the beginning of this story?
Well, yeah, Beren and Lúthien picks up in the year 460 of the First Age, which is, right toward the end.
Yeah, this is about 5 years after the fourth Battle of Beleriand, a.k.a. the Dagor Bragollach, the Battle of Sudden Flame. And at this time, the elves are engaged in an all-out war with Morgoth.
Yeah, it's just straight-up warfare. The Dagor Bragollach was the beginning of the dark times of the First Age of Middle-earth. Totally horrible, shitty, awful, orcs everywhere, fucking awful.
Yeah, I think we've mentioned that a couple times before. Dagor Bragollach, that's the beginning of the bad times.
Yeah, it's when it starts to become not so cool anymore.
And the Dagor Bragollach began when Morgoth made a surprise nighttime assault. And we have a excerpt here from chapter 18 of the Silmarillion of the Rune of Beleriand and the Fall of Fingolfin, read by Trevor.
There came a time of winter, when night was dark and without moon, and the wide plain of Ard Galen stretched dim beneath the cold stars, from the hill forts of the Noldor to the feet of Thangaradrim. Then, suddenly, Morgoth sent forth great rivers of flame that ran down swifter than balrogs from Thangaradrim, and poured all over the plain. And the mountains of iron belched forth fires of many poisonous hues, and the fume of them stank upon the air, and was deadly. Thus began the fourth of the great battles, Dagor Bragollach, the Battle of Sudden Flame. In front of that fire came Glaurung the Golden, father of dragons, in his full might, and in his train were Balrogs, and behind them came the black armies of the orcs, in multitudes such as the Noldor had never before seen or imagined.
Fuck, man. I love that. We've used this one on the podcast before, but I love that last bit. The multitudes such as the Noldor had never before seen or imagined.
Right, that's
so fucking wild. We were talking about earlier today, like, imagine something you see, like, exists and, like, they're numerous, right? Like deer or squirrels, right?
Okay.
And you imagine now that you see a bunch of deer coming at you.
A lot of deer.
But not only is it a bunch of deer, it is multitudes such as you have never seen before, A, and B, could never even imagine with your puny brain that there existed that many
like
of them.
So many deer that some of them are like in the trees or something?
Right,
or
like they're just stacked up, like, like I don't know how they're doing it,
Like triangles, like pyramids, like
right. I don't know. It's like I'm seeing more orcs than I thought existed, and that sucks.
And they're all right here.
All right here.
I have to say, to be fair, it is only like the first 400 years of the First Age.
Right.
There hasn't been a lot of time to have that experience, I guess.
I mean, the world's existed longer than that, but...
Right. But yeah, there was a 400 years or so. What you're getting at is, like, prior to this battle, things have been pretty great in Middle-earth. It was relatively peaceful, right?
Yeah, so Dagor Bragollach was the beginning of the Dark Times, but for a long time, 400 years prior, things were great. It was actually a time of relative peace in Middle-earth, and Morgoth and his orcs were at that time hiding from the sun.
Yeah. This was the time that they called the Siege of Angband, which is between 60 First Age and 455 of the First Age.
Jeez.
So, like, damn near 400 year long siege. And that's all that kept the peace, was that the siege was going on. They were basically watching his ass
as he hid underground from the sun.
And
that siege began after Morgoth had lost the third battle of Beleriand, called the Dagor Aglareb, a.k.a. the Glorious Battle, because they won, obviously, and got a 400-year peace after that. And during that 400-year time, some of the greatest elven kingdoms of the Elder Days were built there, and it was just an amazing place to be.
Right.
We had places like Vinyamar, that was finished sometime in the early First Age, before First Age Year 50.
Yeah, you got the Watchtower of Minas Tirith, or also known as on Tolsirion there, the island. And that was finished around 60 as well. That was built by Felagund, right?
Mm-hmm. Felagund himself. And there was also, Felagund had Nargothrond built, and that was finished around the year 102.
Oh, yeah, shortly after there.
And that was with the help of the dwarves. It was a very peaceful time.
Of course.
Yeah. Quick to follow, we also got Gondolin in 116.
Yeah, that's a huge one, considering the Fall of Gondolin is one of the three major tales.
Industrious are the people of Middle-earth.
And I mean, during this time, not only kingdoms, there were other older kingdoms and settlements that also just simply continued to thrive during this time. You had the dwarven cities of Belagost and Nogrod, the country of men, Dorloman.
Yeah, the elven cities on the havens of Brithambar and Eglarest.
I love that word. Eglarest.
Eglarest, that's a fun one.
Yeah.
And the elven kingdom of Doriath.
Yeah, probably the oldest of them all.
You know what I just thought of? This area is kind of like, what's that? You might know this, you're a science nerd, Trev. I think it's called the Cambrian Explosion. That period of time when life just went fucking wild because there was nothing around to like kill it, right?
Yep, I know what you're talking about.
And like, this is like that time period for Middle Earth. This is when shit starts to really pop off and shit starts to become really cool and cultures start to become distinct. And, it's really fucking cool time.
Yeah, this was also, importantly, a time of friendship and intermingling between men and elves.
Right, because they had the same struggle. At least a handful, like 80% of men were evil. But, of the ones that were good, their struggle was the same as the elves.
Yeah, very close to the end of this 400-year peace, right around the year 400, men had arrived in Beleriand for the first time, and most of the men ended up living under one of the established elven kings or lords, because, pretty much all that land was already divvied up.
Mm-hmm. And if you want to hear more about that, check out our 2-part men episode. We go all up into that bullshit.
Oh, yes. We explore men.
We do explore men.
We explore
unlike we ever have.
Men.
Like, we explore men so much that, like, my mom's Catholicism quaked a little bit,
You might say we went a little deep.
We went deep into men.
Deep into those men.
Oh, okay.
What was I saying? Oh, God.
Yeah, so this meant that the
Derailed.
Derailed our own fucking episode.
100 episodes of this, guys. 900 more to go.
Oh, the friendship between men and elves. Yeah,
That's
so
what
this
we were
was
talking about.
yeah,
Yep.
this was super important, especially because this meant that the fight against Morgoth now includes both elves and men. It's not just elves versus Morgoth. It's elves and men versus Morgoth. And men, they really bring something to the table.
Yeah, they're more disposable, right? Because they
It's fucked up. Fucked up.
You
They're
could look at it
pawns.
that way. They are.
But
And-
yeah, the United Front helps against
It does.
against Morgoth.
And Morgoth is known to specifically hate the alliance between elves and men above, like, most anything. He
Oh yeah,
hates
I
that.
mean, whenever that happens, I mean, even later on in the Second Age, when Sauron sees how close the Dunedain are to the elves, he's like, "That's got to stop." You know, these evil people, they don't like when we get along. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
well, Morgoth is just a jealous bitch.
Yes,
He
yes,
really
he
is.
is.
That's what he is.
petty.
Yeah,
Petty little bitch.
and if you disagree, hop on the KOT Discord.
Let us know.
Let us know.
All right, so we've got some general background on the history so far, leading up to Beren and Lúthien. Another thing we're going to have to get some background on before we jump into the story is the Kingdom of Doriath specifically.
Hell yeah.
A lot happens in the Kingdom of Doriath and with the royalty of the Kingdom of Doriath.
Doriath is Ope, and it's the mighty forest kingdom of the Sindar in central Beleriand, right in the middle, baby.
I think I said at one point in a past episode that if I could live anywhere in Middle-earth, it'd probably be Doriath.
Yeah, Menegroth. Yeah, the Thousand Caves. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that still stands, honestly.
yeah.
That'd
Thousand
be a
Caves
really
sounds
cool place.
awesome. Yeah.
Doriath was ruled by King Elúthingol and Queen Melian the Maya.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you heard that right. An elven king and basically a demigod queen. Somehow they hooked up and got married.
And that if you remember, for those deep cut nerds out there, Elúthingol and Queen Melian, they met each other like in the woods and fell in love and then started Doriath together, right? That was
They
their
fell
whole
in love
thing.
with each other. They saw each other and like fell into a trance for like
Mhm,
years,
for
and
years.
and years.
And his name used to be Elwë, right? And the reason that the Grey Elves, the Sindar, are still in Beleriand and never left is because they were looking for his ass, remember?
They couldn't find him.
Like, this couple is hugely historical, and Doriath is hugely tied into the history of Beleriand.
It's a very important kingdom.
Yes.
It was the greatest of the realms of the Sindar elves in Beleriand.
Oh, ever.
And it's also one of the only elven kingdoms to ban all men.
Straight up.
Yeah, for millennia, the kingdom of Doriath was separated from the outside world by the magic barrier that was made by Queen Melian the Maya. This is known as the Girdle of Melian.
A.K.A. the Veil of Melian.
Yeah. Girdle sounds a little like...
The girdle.
Yeah, I
The
think
girdle.
like when like men with a belly, those things. Isn't that a girdle that holds your belly in to make you seem skinnier?
I'm actually not sure.
I'm not
I'm
sure.
pretty sure that's what they call it, a girdle. Yeah, learned something new today. It's like a corset for men. Check it out.
well, this girdle is not
In
that.
this story,
In this story, it's an
It's something
enchanted barrier
different.
surrounding Doriath.
yeah, it basically prevents entry into Doriath. With basically, no one can enter without the will and consent of the king and queen,
Mm-hmm.
Especially men.
especially men.
Especially men. Yeah.
Men were strictly forbidden from entering Doriath, as we said.
Mm-hmm.
And we have an excerpt from the Silmarillion, chapter 17, of The Coming of Men into the West, read by Joel.
It is said that in all these matters, none save Finrod Felagund took counsel with King Thingol, and he was ill-pleased, both for that reason and because he was troubled by dreams concerning the coming of men, ere ever the first tidings of them were heard. Therefore he commanded that men should take no lands to dwell in, save in the north, and that the princes whom they served should be answerable for all that they did. And he said, Into Doriath shall no man come while my realm lasts, not even those of the house of Beor, who serve Finrod the Beloved.
Damn, they even banned the people who liked Finrod.
People of Beor the Old?
Yeah.
How dare they?
What is that about?
Rude.
He's like, not even friends of Finrod the Beloved. Everybody fucking loves Finrod.
Yeah, what's your beef?
Well, all those who attempted to pass through the girdle became enmeshed, and they wandered lost in an impossible maze of trees,
Sick.
eventually running out of food and water, and, perishing.
Oh, so you just die out there.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
basically
So there's
get
just, like-
lost in the woods and you die.
It's just chock full of skeletons out there. Do you think that they go and because you know what's really fucked up? So this is a fucked up story. I don't know. So I was I was out on a highway one time and I was trying to turn around. And I saw a little dirt road, right? and I went down this dirt road, and there was a bunch of just dead deer down at the bottom of the road.
Dude, I was with you.
Were you with me, Chad?
That was a 420. We had just got our COVID shot.
Yes, COVID.
Or I just got my COVID shot, and we went on a nature walk.
Yeah, and we pulled in, remember, and there was just a bunch of deer down there, and I'm pretty sure that's where MnDOT dumps all the roadkill deer.
Probably.
And they let them return to the earth. And yeah, that was, I wonder if that's just what they do in Doriath. They have
Mildly
a little
terrifying.
like a little pit for all the people that got lost.
Well, if they can never make their way actually all the way into Doria, there must be like a perimeter where all the corpses are.
There's just a perimeter of
so they
dead
probably
bodies.
just don't worry about it.
Yeah, they just got that far.
Like people might question why there's a bunch of bodies here, but beyond that, they won't know.
Yeah.
But this girdle was also very important because it also protected the kingdom of Doriath from the dark influence and the praying eyes of Morgoth. He couldn't use his magic to spy on them, and his spies couldn't get through the girdle.
Right, because this is straight up the power of the Ainur that's fueling this girdle here.
Yeah, but Melian the Maya did predict that one day a man driven by destiny would breach that defense. We'll get to that shortly.
Okay.
But before we do...
Who are the players?
Yeah, before we dive into the story, the last folks we got to talk about are Beren and Lúthien themselves. Who are they? Let's give them a little setup.
Characters.
Main characters.
We set up the game, now the players.
Lúthien is the first one.
Lúthien the Fair.
Player 1.
Our female protagonist. We're going to do the rest of the episode like that.
That's like, Jesus Christ.
Also, some names for Lúthien. She's got a few. We got Lúthien, straight up. We got Tinuviel, which is Sindarin for Nightingale.
We got Tindom Merel, which is Quenya for Nightingale. And then a few titles. We got Daughter of Twilight.
Princess of Doriath. And Lady of Tolgalin.
Hell yeah. And Lúthien, for her elven side, is a Sindarin elf. She was tall, slender, had raven black hair, pale skin, and bright eyes.
Bright gray eyes.
Oh yeah, bright gray eyes. There
Specifically gray. I actually saw that and I had to look up. I was like, is gray eyes a thing? It is. It's actually particularly rare, but they're really pretty.
Oh yeah, I've known a few people with gray eyes. My grandma had kind of gray eyes, yeah, like a bluish gray kind of color, yeah.
Yeah, and so Lúthien, she is the only daughter of King Thingol and Queen Melian.
Which makes her half elf and half Maya, right?
Right. Well,
Yeah. No,
yes.
Yeah.
But in a sense, it's a little bit more complicated than that because it's Joel's looking at me funny because she had to take the form of an elf to bear Thingol's child, right?
So you're saying
so it's a Maiar with the Roa of an elf.
Are you?
I'm getting real nitpicky here.
Are you arguing transubstantiation? Are you saying
sort of like that?
Like Jesus came to Earth as a man, so he was a man like Maya? The queen, she came and took the form as an elf, so she was actually well, it's known that she had like...
No, she does have the powers of the Maiar and all that. I'm just saying, if you want to get technical...
Okay, no, all right.
The Roa of her mother was the form of an elf, but her Fea was that of the Ainur. All I'm saying.
I think that is a wonderful analysis. I didn't see where you were going with that.
You see what I'm saying?
But I see what you're saying now.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm not just dumb. Okay.
Because of this connection, this does give Lúthien's... She's a bit more magical than your typical elf.
Yes,
she is certainly more magical than your typical elf, yes.
A bit of that.
She's a very
Maya
special character. Very unique.
Mm-hmm.
She was said to be the fairest of all of the children of Iluvatar to ever live. So specifically elves, men, and dwarves. So I guess maybe there is a more beautiful Ent out there somewhere. Or an orc.
Or an orc.
Or an orc.
Fuck.
Maybe. Who knows?
Uruk-hai.
Yeah.
But she was also born in the magical forest of Neldareth under the stars. That's one of the forests within Doriath. And the small white flower known as the Nifredil was also known to first grow at the moment of her birth.
And she would often dance in the woods. Her magical dancing was known to help melt away winter and promote the growth of spring, which is pretty nuts.
Yeah, she kind of helped the seasons. Okay?
Right, isn't that kind of like Persephone, right, in the Greek myth? I think it's Persephone, Demeter's daughter.
My Greek mythology is not as good as yours.
I think I'm correct.
Well, when she would dance, she also would do it to the music of her friend Daeron, who was the minstrel of Thingol.
Mm-hmm. Daeron, very famous. He's supposed to be the best minstrel fucking ever, apparently, even better than Maglor.
Yeah.
And he would play his flute, And Daeron, he did something fucked and he developed feelings for Lúthien.
Did something fucked up.
That's what he did. You should never do that.
Bad news
Never,
bears.
yeah, never love anyone.
I'm here. I'm
Lesson number 1 here.
Yeah, I'm literally playing with my engagement ring right now. And I'm just like, never love anyone,
Never
guys.
love.
It's not worth it. No, yeah, but she enjoyed Daeron's company, but she didn't like him. You know what I
She
mean?
didn't like him.
She liked him, but
They
she
were
didn't
friends.
like him.
Maybe
she friend zoned
needed-
him.
She just needed to be a little more upfront with him. But it's probably his fault 'cause he probably didn't say anything.
Well, it's
we don't get
it's-
too much information on their history. I think he never makes any moves on her, so she probably let him know. I would assume that she made it clear that she didn't have those feelings for him. But anyway, let's get into Beren.
Yeah, let's
It's too deep.
Daeron.
Fuck Daeron. So Beren is our mannish protagonist.
Oh, I
You-
actually have. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you about Daeron, though.
Yeah.
I actually have a reason for hating that dick.
Oh,
Because do you know who Daeron's friend is?
who?
Cyrus, the guy in the Children of Hurin that disrespects Hurin, is a friend of Daeron.
Oh, does it say that in the Children of Hurin?
Yes.
Oh,
That's why he's in such high standing in Doriath, because he's a friend of Daeron.
I didn't
Yeah.
remember that, man.
So, fuck Daeron
fuck Daeron.
and his buddy, Cyrus.
It's crazy how all of this stuff connects
Yeah,
together.
it's all
it
of the-
will,
yeah,
but
yeah.
one thing at a time, one step at a time. So let's talk about Beren.
Yeah,
for a second.
sorry.
Beren.
We're so excited for episode 100,
We
you
love
guys.
this shit.
We
This
love
is our bread and butter.
This is what we live for.
Let's do some Beren names and titles.
Yeah.
Of course, we've got Beren, as we've said.
Mm-hmm.
And we have... Oh, wow, this is an H1. Is it
Urkamian.
Urkamian?
Yes. That means synonym for one-handed.
Spot on.
Oh. We've also got
Spoiler alert,
Camlost. yeah, spoiler alert. Got Camlost, which is synonym for empty-handed.
Mm-hmm. Which he names himself that, actually. We'll get into that later.
Damn, self-title. All right.
Self-titled, yeah. Turin also, in the next bit, he's got a lot of self-titles, too. He takes a lot of names for himself.
We've also got the titles of Chieftain of the House of Beor, Beren the Renowned, and Lord of Tol Galen.
Hell yeah. And like we said, we mentioned earlier, Beren is a man of the House of Beor, which is one of the houses of the Edain, the 3 houses of good men.
The good men. Yeah, and so he has golden brown hair and gray eyes. He's very tall, he's broad-shouldered, and he is beefy.
In other words,
He's a-
sexy.
He's a beefcake.
Yeah.
Beren the Beefcake.
Beren the Beefcake.
There we go. Beefcake Beren.
Beefcake
Beren.
Beren. I like it.
That's a good Halloween costume, honestly. You could do like one hand, like missing. Yeah, spoiler alert again.
Just have a big buff shirt on or something.
Just big buff Baron.
I'm
That'd
buff
be cool.
Baron.
And then your partner can be a giant werewolf.
Hell yeah.
There you go. Everyone will get it.
Yeah, this tale gets real weird. Yeah, everyone will get that. Yeah.
Well,
So-
Beren is the son of Barahir,
Yes.
Importantly.
importantly. And he is the current chieftain of the House of Beor.
Yes.
And
And because
something-
you might recognize that name, right? Barahir.
Bear here.
Because of one of our favorite artifacts that we have tracked through the years in this show that I actually own a replica of, but it's too big for my hand since I lost weight. Ha ha ha.
Put it on your toe.
Yeah, I should put it on my toe. But the Ring of Barahir, right?
Which was originally the Ring of Felagund.
Yes, of course.
Yes, but we're going to get into that. So the Ring of Bear here, believe it or not, is actually also very important to this story. So let's take a
Super.
second just to talk about the Ring of Bear here for a minute.
Gotta.
Originally named the Ring of Helagund, and it was originally an elven ring made by the Noldor elves, but it wasn't a magical ring.
Not magical. Just
it was
cool.
Just a symbol of the House of Finarfin.
Mm-hmm.
It was given to Barahir by Finrod Felagund after Barahir and his men saved Finrod from orcs at the end of the Dagger Bragalach.
Yeah, it became a really important symbol of friendship for the House of Men, for Barahir's line. And Finrod swore an oath to aid Barahir and his house any time that they were in any kind of need, as a thank you for saving his life. And we've got an excerpt here from Chapter 17 of the Silmarillion of the Coming of Men into the West, read by Danny.
But Barahir, the brother of Bregalus, was in the fighting further westward near the pass of Sirion. There King Finrod Felagund, hastening from the south, was cut off from his people, and surrounded with small company in the fen of Sarek. And he would have been slain or taken, but Barahir came up with the bravest of his men and rescued him, and made a wall of spears about him, and they cut their way out of the battle with great loss. Thus Felagund escaped, and returned to his deep fortress of Nargothrond, But he swore an oath of abiding friendship and aid in every need to Barahir and all his kin. And in token of his vow, he gave to Barahir his ring.
The Ring of Barahir.
Ring of Barahir. You know what was really funny? That actually says it's not it's explicitly not magical. I remember there's one part where it says that. Remember what it is? Arvidwi, when he's giving the ring to the snowmen of... he says it has no magic powers except for those who love my house will ransom it for a lot of fucking money, is what it says.
That's right, yeah. So it's well known that it's not a magical ring.
Yep, it's explicitly said, yeah.
But it is, however, a very important ring. This ring
super important.
Is kept by the men of the Edain, specifically the House of Beor, and becomes an heirloom in the later ages. This is the ring that actually Aragorn eventually wears.
He gives it to Arwen as a wedding ring, remember?
Yeah, it's kind of an engagement ring as well.
Yeah, which is highly symbolic.
It's a very important ring.
Mm-hmm.
It's been through a lot. I wonder how many times it had to be like reworked a little bit, touched up.
Resized.
I've always wondered that because it's like 1,000 years of going through the generations. Like somebody's got to have a fatter hand,
well, right? Well, and it's
or
just,
a smaller
it's just
hand.
like metals,
hand,
right?
yeah.
And it's not magical, so it's not gonna
Well,
hold
and,
itself together.
Well, like no smith among men would know how to resize a ring from Valinor,
Right.
Like they just wouldn't know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder if it's no, it's not magical, man. I don't
Interesting.
know.
Yeah, dude.
Plot hole. No, I'm kidding.
I don't know.
So let's just throw out a little description of the Ring of Barahir, and then we will finally jump into the story for you guys.
Finally.
Thank you for being patient with us.
We'll get there when we get there. But yes, it's an ornate silver ring in the shape of two serpents intertwined.
The two serpents meet beneath a crown of golden flowers, and one serpent upholds the crown, and the other serpent is trying to devour the crown.
Pretty metal.
The serpents had eyes that were made of green jewels, and the jewels were specifically known to have been crafted in Valinor, and they appear to burn with a green fire. We've got a cool excerpt here from Chapter 17 of the Silmarillion of Beren and Lúthien, read by Trevor.
Green jewels gleamed there that the Noldor had devised in Valinor, for this ring was like to twin serpents, whose eyes were emeralds, and their heads met beneath a crown of golden flowers, that the one upheld and the other devoured. That was the badge of Finarfin and his house.
All right, and that concludes
Our context.
our prologue.
Yeah, prologue. Now we're moving into the story proper of Beren and Lúthien.
Yes, so without further ado, my friends, thank you for coming to our 100th episode today. Here is...
We love you.
We love you. Here is the tale of Beren and Lúthien. Amen.
Oremos. That actually does start the mass, right? That means Oremos means let's pray. So let's do it, guys. Let us pray.
Let us pray.
Oremos. The story opens following a band of men in the wild. And this is, of course, Barahir and his son Beren, and 12 remaining companions living among the animals of the wild on the run from Sauron.
Morgoth had commanded Sauron to hunt down and kill Barahir and all his men.
That's not nice.
No, of course. Well, I mean, Morgoth, really?
Right.
But Sauron, he couldn't find Barahir's hideout, and he struggled to find any word of Barahir and his men at all.
Yeah, so we get introduced to, shortly after this, to a character named Gorlim the Unhappy.
That's a title.
Yeah. And we're not certain why they call him the Unhappy, but he seems to be unhappy because he loves his wife, Eilunel, and she's been taken by Sauron.
Yeah, and he doesn't know if Eilunel is imprisoned or if she's dead, but he really misses her.
Yeah.
Oh, now it's sad.
Yeah. He's the unhappy, right? That's
He's
why
pretty unhappy.
He's an unhappy guy.
So because he's so sad and misses his wife, he periodically goes back and spies on his old house to see if perhaps Eilunel somehow returned while he was gone.
And one night in autumn, he sees a light on. So he goes up to the window, and he sees what looks like his wife stooped over the fire. But he rushes in to see her, and as soon as he enters, the lights go out, and he is captured, of course, by Sauron's hunters. We have an excerpt from the Silmarillion, Chapter 19, of Beren and Lúthien, read by Joel.
On a time of autumn, Gorlim came in the dusk of evening, and drawing near, he saw, as he thought, a light at the window, and coming warily near, he looked within. There he saw Eilunel, and her face was worn with grief and hunger, and it seemed to him that he heard her voice lamenting that he had forsaken her. But even as he cried aloud, the light was blown out in the wind. Wolves howled, and on his shoulders he felt the sudden and heavy hands of Sauron's hunters. Thus Gorlim was ensnared, and they brought him into the dreadful presence of Sauron. And Sauron said, I hear now that thou wouldst barter with me. What is thy price? And Gorlim answered that he should find Elenel again, and with her be set free. For he thought that Elenel also had been made captive. Then Sauron smiled, saying, That is a small price for so great a treachery. So shall it surely be. Say on. Now Gorlim would have drawn back, but daunted by the eyes of Sauron, he told all that he would know. Then Sauron laughed, and he mocked Gorlim, and revealed to him that he had seen only a phantom devised by wizardry to entrap him, for Elenel was dead. Nonetheless, I will grant thy prayer, said Sauron, and thou shalt go to Elenel and be set free from my service. Then he put him to death cruelly.
The old bait and switch.
Sauron's kind of an asshole.
He sucks. Yeah, he really fucking sucks.
Yeah, so he has now tortured and killed one of Barahir's men and gotten out of Gorlim the location of Barahir's secret camp.
Not cool.
The dude was
Not
already
cool.
unhappy.
He was already unhappy, and now he's even more unhappy because he
Oh, he's
ended
fucking
up
dead.
He ended up he ended up selling out all of his own men.
Yeah, for no fucking reason.
So one night, while Beren, coincidentally, luckily, was out spying on the enemy, Sauron's orcs ambush Barahir and his men.
Yeah, and they are wiped out. All killed.
They are
Dunzo.
all killed.
Well, all except for Beren.
Right, because he was out. And that night, as he slept in the forest, he had a nightmare. And in this nightmare, Gorlim appeared to him and told him all about his betrayal and that, Sauron's coming, basically.
Yeah, yes.
He's coming for you guys.
Could you imagine how awkward that conversation would have been?
Right, yeah.
Hey, Beren,
I'm a ghost because...
I'm a ghost. Why you a ghost, dude? Yeah.
About that.
So you know our secret camp.
You might want to get back there.
You guys might want to leave that place. Anyway, yeah. So the secret camp completely killed. But when Beren woke, he sped back to the camp to try to save them. But when he arrived, he only found bodies and carrion birds.
Yeah, they specifically describe how there's birds eating the flesh there.
Yeah, kind of a
Very
sad
nice.
scene. I mean, those are all his remaining friends
His
and,
homies,
his dad.
Yeah.
Like we said, this is right after the Dagor Bragollach, so this is dark times.
And there ain't many of them left.
People are desperate. A lot of
No.
people have died already.
Yeah. So Beren decides to go on vendetta run and hunt down the band of orcs. And during the night, Beren surprises the captain, and as the captain is like boasting that he killed Barahir, and he holds up the ring.
Yeah, he holds up Barahir's like severed hand with the ring on it.
Yeah, and then Beren just steps in and guts him, and then runs off. Basically.
Yeah. It was super dangerous and really daring, but because the captain had that hand with the ring of Barahir on it, Beren thought it was worth risking to try.
Totally.
Try to go get it.
So he did this in front of other orcs too.
Yeah, there was a
Right.
whole band of orcs. Yeah,
Just
I
stopped
imagine-
and, sup.
You'll,
like
guerrilla style, just like woo-jah.
You'll appreciate this. I imagine, remember Brutalize in Shadow of Mordor?
yes.
I imagine he brutalized him in front of all of his men and then ran off into the night. That's what I imagine.
He inflicted terror on all of them, and they all ran off.
Yeah,
Well, that's kind of sort of what he does after
in a
this.
way.
So for 4 years after this incident, Beren remains in Dorthonion, wandering around and just hunting orcs and fucking with Sauron and Morgoth's troops.
Straight up insurgency over there. A one-man insurgency.
Yeah.
He also spends his time with wild animals and learns to befriend them, so he has a social network,
Yeah, he does.
He becomes real friendly with nature. I mean, he's got no one else at this point.
He even stops eating meat and hunting animals.
Yeah,
Well,
completely.
unless they serve Morgoth.
Unless they serve Morgoth.
Morgoth's hound.
Which is funny because, like, I could imagine, like, it says that he stopped eating meat and hunting animals unless they serve Morgoth. And that led me to believe, like, the vague wording there. Does he eat servants of Morgoth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not only did he kill the orc captain, but he started
He ate
eating him
Like, that would be
in front
how
of the other
fucked up
orc.
would that be? He just like slices off a piece of flesh and he's just like in the flame of the fire. Yeah, that'd be fucking terrifying.
Jesus Christ.
I only that's meat is truly back on the menu.
If you're a civilized orc in that room, you're sitting there going, "Oh my god, who is this insane guy?"
Maybe
He
that's
just comes in here and he's
maybe that's
eating
where
people.
orcs got the idea to eat other orcs from.
From Beren.
From Beren.
It's
They're
revenge.
like, oh, you can eat orcs?
Yeah, he looked like he liked it. Maybe
I saw
it's-
Beren do it. Maybe we could eat orcs too.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway,
Oh.
aside from orc cannibalism and all that lovely stuff. So Beren chose to stay in Dorthonion to continue to fuck up Morgoth's operations in any way possible from behind enemy lines.
Mm-hmm.
But he can't stay there forever.
No, not when he's attracting so much attention.
Yeah, Morgoth eventually sends Sauron and an army of werewolves, well, and other fell beasts, but the werewolves are pretty awesome, to hunt down Beren, which causes him to have to flee, actually.
Yeah, straight up bugs out of Dorthonion.
In the only direction that he can.
South.
Southward.
I love that.
Yeah,
South.
he's surrounded on all other sides. He can only go south.
Yeah, and however, south of Dorthonion are the mountains of Gorgoroth and the wilderness of Dangortheb, which are terrible places. I don't know if you remember, Dangortheb actually means the Valley of Dreadful Death.
Oh, boy.
I remember that from the Sheila, or the Ungoliant mystery.
When you're there, it also has kind of like a weird effect. You get kind of lost.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of giant spiders and horrific things there.
Yeah, things that were born in the dark.
Yes.
Born in the dark.
It's so funny, the horrible things that Beren experienced here traumatized him so much that afterwards he always refused to speak of it.
Yeah, so funny.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on, this reminds me of another guy that happened to later. Aragorn.
Yeah, in
But-
the Mines of Moria.
in Moria.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
refuses to talk
Aragorn
about it.
is sort of the reincarnation of Beren's character.
He does
later
have
on,
that
too.
tribulation in his early years that Aragorn had.
That's a
as well.
strange commonality to have.
Parallel, yeah.
But Beren does ultimately survive this wild ordeal going through Gorgoroth and Dungortheb. Doesn't speak of it to anyone, but somehow he actually goes so far as to make his way all the way down to the northern border of Doriath. And remarkably, he finds his way through the Girdle of Melian and actually enters the kingdom of Doriath.
Just no problem.
Just no problem whatsoever. And just like her prophecy said, this is because Beren was guided by doom.
The Doom.
Can just any Maya prophesize and that's suddenly...
I mean,
I
it
don't
seems
know.
like from our prophecies episodes, all kinds of people make prophecies. Men make prophecies. Elves make prophecies. I'm sure the dwarves have a few here or there that we missed.
There's also prophecies that are just referenced that we don't really know who made them, like
Right,
prophecies about Huon. Or
Like that
something
one
like.
will come up. Yeah, it'll come up later in the story here.
Sounds like a very loose term. Like, anybody could make a
It's
prophecy.
like a vague prediction. Yeah.
But we've got an excerpt here from the Silmarillion chapter 19 of Beren and Lúthien, read by Danny.
Into Doriath shall no man come while my realm lasts, not even those of the house of Beor who serve Finrod the Beloved. Melian said nothing to him at that time, but afterwards she said to Galadriel, Now the world runs on swiftly to great tidings, and one of men, even of Beor's house, shall indeed come, and the girdle of Melian shall not restrain him. For doom greater than my power shall send him, and the songs that shall spring from that coming shall endure when all Middle-earth is changed.
So this guy's a big deal. At least Melian knows it. Melian knows a lot of stuff, but nobody ever seems to listen to her. I don't
Smartest person in the room.
Smartest
that nobody
person
ever
in the
listens
room,
to.
yeah.
Yep. Her and Galadriel are just like the yeah,
They're there to know everything and be ignored, I guess.
be ignored. Yep, exactly. Yep. By less cool-headed people. Yeah.
So, one lovely summer evening, Beren was wandering in the woods of Neldoreth, and he came across a young elf maiden who was dancing on the grass next to the river Esgalduin under the moonrise. That sounds like a beautiful... That's a beautiful scene.
Pretty.
Yeah, and then all memory of Beren's pain and trauma of Nan Dungortheb and Gorgoroth slowly, instantaneously really, left him. And he was dumbfounded by her beauty.
Yeah, this elf maiden was, of course, the Princess Lúthien. Not that he knew that at this time.
No.
And we've got a lovely excerpt from Beren and Lúthien, chapter 19 of the Silmarillion, read by Trevor.
Lúthien was the most beautiful of all the children of Iluvatar. Blue was her raiment as the unclouded heaven, but her eyes were gray as the starlit evening. Her mantle was sown with golden flowers, but her hair was dark as the shadows of twilight, as the light upon the leaves of the world, such as her glory and her loveliness, and in her face was a shining light. But she vanished from his sight, and he became dumb, as one that is bound under a spell, and he strayed long in the woods, wild and wary as a beast, seeking for her. In his heart he called her Tinuviel, that signifies nightingale, daughter of twilight, in the grey elven tongue, for he knew no other name for her.
How beautiful. Tinuviel, nightingale.
Tinuviel.
So Beren remained in the woods, just wandering around, searching for Lúthien throughout autumn and winter.
Seasons.
He's wandering through the girdle of Melian. Still,
Well, he's already past the girdle of Melian. Now he's just in the confines of Doriath, just wandering through the forests of Doriath.
He's straight up in there.
Well,
Oh, okay.
well, that's how he got so far in that he could find Lúthien. But he would periodically catch glimpses of Lúthien through the trees, but he was never able to quite catch up with her. You know, those magic light-footed elves. They run off, you know.
Yeah, you know how they are.
You know
Those
how they are.
Fucking elves.
I mean, just like in the Hobbit when they're in Mirkwood and they kind of see the elves off through the trees and they just poof.
They
and
take all their
disappear.
food and they get the fuck
Yeah,
out of there.
they can move tables and shit.
Yeah,
I don't-
their bussing is like a whole
They're
other
bussing.
Yeah. The art of bussing and of the Nandor over in fucking the other greatest
Over in
Elrond should just
Mirkwood.
say over in the Nandor of Mirkwood are known for their bussing of table
the
skills.
bussing of tables.
They're quick, they're quiet.
Yeah, they can do it in the dark. Yeah. Okay. Then, one dawn, at the beginning of spring, Beren heard her singing as she danced on a green hillock.
That's funny because, that is actually the word that they use in the book.
I love the
is
word hillock. Yeah.
Hillock. But Beren finally finds his voice, and he actually calls out to her, Tinuviel, Tinuviel.
And Lúthien stopped in wonder at the name.
But that's not her name.
That's not who I am.
But, I mean, now it is, I guess.
But Beren was finally able to approach her, and when they met, she fell in love with him. Simultaneously, she becomes entangled in his doom.
Double KO. It's funny, this Tinuviel business. Remember, Aragorn uses that to get Arwen.
Mm-hmm.
In the appendix there of Lord of the Rings.
I shouldn't say that's not her name. Actually, in some versions of the tale, he gets that name from hearing Daeron say it.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Look at that. All kinds of.
So it depends on what version of the tale I guess we're looking at.
But this
Right
is
on.
not that tale.
But this is not that tale. Well, we got, what do we get? We got an excerpt from the Lay of Lúthien here, right? Lúthien. This is Canto 4, and it's going to be read by our good friend Joel.
A night there was when winter died, then all alone she sang and cried, and danced until the dawn of spring, and chanted some wild magic thing that stirred him, till at last he broke the bonds that held him, and he woke. From dreaming deep and cold despair, he strayed out into the night air, and the hillock green he stepped upon, but the elven sheen was sudden gone. The hill abandoned, she had fled away, but now his feet were sped, and as she went, he swiftly came, and called her with the tender name of nightingales in elven tongue, that all the woods now sudden rung, Tinuviel, Tinuviel, and clear his voice was as a bell. Its echoes wove a binding spell, Tinuviel, Tinuviel. His voice such love and longing filled, one moment stood she, fear was stilled. One moment without fear or shame, one moment only, Beren came, and as she stood there shimmering, her grey eyes danced, a glimmering. In Doriath bound in a spell, then doom fell on Tinuviel, and Beren caught that elven maid, fair Lúthien, whom love delayed.
Damn, that's freaking beautiful. Love that shit.
What a nice way to meet.
Go read the lays, guys. They're awesome.
Read the Lays, and that's in History of Middle Earth Volume 4, right? 3, 4, Lays of Beleriand.
I'd have to honestly.
It's one of the first 5. I remember that.
I don't have all of the histories of Middle Earth memorized off the top of my head.
There's so many.
I probably should.
Yeah, but it's the first 5 because I remember it's in my paperback box set that I have. My sister actually recently got me a hardcover of Lays of Beleriand, which is actually pretty hard to come across.
That's really fucking cool. I don't think I've ever seen that, actually.
I had never until I owned it. Yeah,
Until I owned it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, my sister rules. She always gets me the best Tolkien shit.
So upon meeting Lúthien for the first time, like officially catching up with her, she slips from his arms and disappears into the forest right as day breaks. And then Beren passes out in the forest from pure joy.
Pure joy. Yeah, I'm sure he got some rest that night like he hasn't had in a while recently.
Yeah, holy shit.
So after that day, Lúthien would actually regularly come out to the forest, that spot, to visit Beren, and they'd walk in the forest together. And this was a blissful time for them both.
Yeah, it's like, when you first start dating the person that's like, the love of your life, there's like that amazing moment.
Getting to know that amazing person for the first time, it's always very exciting.
Yeah, especially when it clicks and you're just like, damn, everything you learn about that person is like, this rules. And the more you learn, the more you like them. It's a fucking cool period. If y'all haven't been there, just check it out.
Try loving somebody sometime.
Try loving another person.
Love sometime.
Yeah. Try love. Endorsed by Kate. I think all 3 of us here endorse love.
I think we
love,
endorse love, yes.
Good.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, speaking of love, this Daeron guy, didn't take long for him to catch on to this these visits Lúthien's making.
Yeah, because Daeron, like we mentioned, he's got a little thing for Lúthien. So he jealously rats on them to King Thingol.
What a dick.
Dude,
Wow.
I wonder if his friend Cyrus, the dick, told him to do it.
They say snitches get stitches.
Yeah, exactly, Daeron.
So the king was completely bewildered and upset at even the idea of his daughter running around with a mortal man, let alone falling in love with one. Like, this was just beyond him.
This is just some level 1 racism here.
Right, yeah. Like we said, King Thingol is known to be racist against men. Just doesn't like men
just doesn't care for him.
Yeah.
No love there.
He must be pretty pissed that a man just walked right into Doriath, too.
Yeah, like,
Oh, he's
your barrier sucks.
Yeah, just walked on in.
Bewildered.
So King Thingol actually questions Lúthien about Beren,
Mm-hmm.
because he's like, what the fuck are you doing?
As one would.
And she said that she'd only answer his questions if he swore an oath to neither slay nor imprison Beren. And so he agrees, and then Lúthien tells the king all about him.
Yeah, but rather than let the king go send soldiers to, capture him and escort him back to the castle. Arrest him, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Escort.
Yeah.
Instead, Lúthien runs off and escorts Beren back herself and presents him in the throne room like an honored guest. And naturally, this kind of pisses off the king. He doesn't like that too much.
No.
Men aren't supposed to be even allowed in his kingdom, let alone be brought as a guest into the throne room.
Yeah. And Thingol, he speaks harshly to Beren and asked why a mortal man would dare come before his throne. I believe he uses the term unhappy mortal.
Hold on, didn't we just say that Lúthien brought him in?
Yeah.
So he's like, why are you here? Wouldn't you just be like, well, she, let me in?
That's what you should say.
I suppose that's what he should say.
Your
daughter, bro.
Your daughter let me in?
So after looking into the eyes of Lúthien, Beren became inspired, and he actually confessed his love for Lúthien to the king. And he declared that neither Morgoth nor all the powers of the Elf Kingdoms could keep from him the jewel that he desired. Lúthien to Nuvio. How beautiful.
And Beren also not one to he's got some clout here, so he presents the Ring of Barahir, right?
Mm-hmm.
AKA the Ring of Felagund, to show that his family's well respected among the elves even, and that he did not deserve such treatment at the hands of even an elven king.
Right.
We know that Thingol doesn't care about that at all, though.
Right. He's just too much of a dick.
He's like, whatever, dude.
Yeah, so at this point, the Queen Melian takes a second and she bends over and whispers into King Thingol's ear,
sidebar,
advising him to let go of his anger, calm down a second. She said that she can tell, with her foresight, Beren's not going to die anytime soon, and she suspects that actually their fates may be intertwined. But Thingol's just seeing red at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he wanted to kill Beren, and he
up.
He knew he couldn't. He made that oath to Lúthien, so he thought, maybe I can be clever. And so he sends Beren on an impossible task.
Good old impossible task trick,
Which ends up being the biggest mistake of his life.
Hands down.
Thingol's life, that is. We have an excerpt about this event from the Silmarillion, Chapter 19 of Beren and Lúthien, read by Danny.
Then, breaking the silence, he said, I see the ring, son of Barahir, and I perceive that you are proud and deem yourself mighty. But a father's deeds, even had his service been rendered to me, avail not to win the daughter of Thingol and Melian. See now, I too desire a treasure that is withheld. For rock and steel and the fires of Morgoth keep the jewel that I would possess against all powers of the elf kingdoms. Yet I hear you say that bonds such as these do not daunt you. Go your way, therefore. Bring to me in your hand a Silmaril from Morgoth's crown, and then, if she will, Lúthien may set her hand in yours. Then you shall have my jewel. And though the fate of Arda lie within the Silmarils, yet you shall hold me generous. Thus he wrought the doom of Doriath, and was ensnared within the curse of Mandos.
Way to fall into it, Thingol.
Yeah, way to step in a pile of shit, you dumb motherfucker.
But that pesky ass curse too, the curse of Mandos, or the doom of Mandos, or
it just keeps coming back,
like
baby.
the oath of Feanor and all that. Just it's so sticky. It's like if you even get slightly involved with it, you're fucked.
It's like weed res on your hands.
Yeah,
like no joke.
Gross.
You know what I mean? It gets all over everything, all over your clothes, everything.
Not cool.
And you got to get alcohol to get it off. Even soap won't really take
and
it
it's
off.
Stinky. People see it. And
it smells awful.
When you smell it, you're like, oh, I know what that is.
And people know. Yeah, your piece is dirty, clean, buddy.
Wow, gross. Fucking gross.
Stoner hygiene jokes.
Relatable.
So after this impossible task that the king gives Beren, everyone in the throne room listening,
they're like, oh, we're clowning on this guy.
Yeah, they recognize that the king is pretty much mocking Beren to his face and more or less attempting to get him killed while still upholding his oath to Lúthien. He's trying to high road it.
Thinks he's being clever.
In
this insult to Beren's intelligence, I guess, like really pissed him off, right?
Yeah, this infuriates Beren, so he kind of plays along with the insult, and he insults the king back. We got a fun excerpt here from that same chapter 19 of the Silmarillion, and we've got it read by Trevor.
For little price do elven kings sell their daughters, for gems and things made by craft. But if this be your will, Thingol, I will perform it. And when we meet again, my hand shall hold a Silmaril from the Iron Crown. For you have not looked the last upon Beren, son of Barahir.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that dude.
Stick it to the man.
Yeah, right afterwards, he's just like, see ya. Just turns around.
He does really, he like bids farewell to Lúthien, like, hey, only person here I respect.
Mm-hmm.
Goodbye. See you soon. Leaves. No, but he seriously, he bows to he bows to Thingol and Melian.
See ya.
And he leaves Menegroth. He's not that big of a dick.
So after Beren leaves Menegroth, Lúthien becomes noticeably sad and did not go out to dance or sing in the forests anymore.
Yeah,
she's pretty worried about Beren.
Yeah, she's anxious, right? This had a notable effect on the kingdom of Doriath. Things started to kind of suck around there.
Yeah, it said that, quote, a brooding silence fell upon the woods and the shadows lengthened in the kingdom of Thingol. Things got a little darker.
Sounds terrible for the populace.
Yeah, not fun times. Beren, he traveled southwest and he decided to peace out of Doriath. Not knowing where to go, he climbed a hill and took in the lay of the land. Westward, he spotted highlands above Nargothrond, or at least where he kind of thought Nargothrond was.
Right.
The kingdom of Finrod Felagund,
the beloved,
his homie, homie that's never met him but is his homie.
Yeah, brothers by history.
Yeah,
as it were. Remembering that Felagund's oath to aid the house of Barahir is a thing, Beren decides to go to Nargothrond. He's like, "This sounds like a good place to start."
I've been saddled with an impossible task. Perhaps I shall call in an oath,
a favor
from a friend.
Yeah, so he does. He goes to the land of Nargothrond. He knew he was being watched, even though he could not see anybody. Spidey senses tingling.
Yeah. And we're talking Beren, the greatest huntsman of the Edain. He can't find the hunters of Nargothrond.
He can feel them staring.
He knows he's close enough to where he's fucking surrounded by them, but he does not see them. These guys are known for their fucking stealth, and they're really good with their fucking bows too. And we got an excerpt from the Silmarillion here, chapter 19 of Beren and Lúthien, again read by our homie Joel.
Upon all that plain the elves of Nargothrond kept unceasing watch, and every hill upon its borders was crowned with hidden towers, and through all its woods and fields archers ranged secretly and with great craft. Their arrows were sure and deadly, and nothing crept there against their will.
So they're snipers.
Oh, yeah.
Elf snipers. Invisible elf snipers, basically.
Yeah, they're serious about keeping people out, I guess.
Yeah. So in an attempt to save himself from just being murked right away, Beren holds up his hand with the Ring of Barahir on it, a.k.a. Ring of Felagund, as he walked, right? Like a beacon. Like, hey,
right.
I'm a friend. Look at the ring.
Yeah, please don't kill me.
I know you can see it.
See me.
Look at the ring.
See me, please look.
Yeah. Yeah, and he would repeatedly yell his name and that he was a friend of Felagund. So he'd be like, yes, homies, right here.
Eventually
don't
it works,
shoot.
though.
And it does work, yeah. It sure does.
They show themselves, and they escort him back to King Finrod Felagund.
Yeah, as a guest of honor.
And he recognizes him.
Yeah.
Invites him in, and he's like, hey, what can I do for you, man?
Doesn't he say something like, I don't need your name to know your Barahir's kin or whatever? Like he recognizes
something along
him
those lines,
straight
yeah.
off the bat, yeah.
So Felagund sits him down and lets Beren talk, and Felagund listens to his whole tale with some wonder and a little disquiet, because Felagund's starting to realize as Beren tells this tale and what Beren says he's got to go do, Felagund's starting to realize that now this oath that he made, that he swore to Barahir, is likely going to claim his life.
Right. It's a suicide mission.
It's kind of all settling in on him right now. Mm-hmm. He's realizing.
Well, because like he made that prophecy early in his life that he would have to fulfill an oath, and he would have no kingdom that a son should inherit. Right? That was what he said.
Right. Yeah.
So like he knew this day was coming, but it's really starting to settle in that like this day is here now.
This is it.
Like this is the end.
This
friend.
could be it.
Yeah.
Beren is your doom.
Mm-hmm.
So Felagund, he cautions Beren. He warns him not to pursue the Silmarils as any sane person should.
Yes.
Bad news bears.
And Finrod briefly recounts the history of the Silmarils with him and the oath of hatred that Feanor and his 7 sons swore on the Silmarils. He explained that anyone who even names the Silmarils in desire moves a great power from slumber.
Yeah, Finrod warns Beren that there were already even 2 of the sons of Feanor living in Nargothrond with them right now.
That's bad.
He's like, there's even two sons of Feanor that are already here. Like, be aware. Like, you're saying this shit about the Silmarils. Be careful.
Yeah.
We got an excerpt here, also from chapter 19 of the Silmarillion, read by Danny.
The sons of Feanor would lay all the elf kingdoms in ruin rather than suffer any other than themselves to win or possess a Silmaril, for the oath drives them. And now Celegorm and Curufin are dwelling in my halls. And though I, Finarfin's son, am king, they have won a strong power in the realm, and lead many of their own people. They have shown friendship to me in every need, but I fear that they will show neither love nor mercy to you if your quest be told. Yet my own oath holds, and thus we are all ensnared.
Those pesky oaths, man.
That is kind of a crap situation to be in.
Yeah. And if you want to hear all about a bunch of other fun oaths,
yeah,
check out that Doom trilogy. I love those episodes.
I still love our Doom trilogy.
Criminally underrated, in my opinion.
Yeah, so we did 3 episodes just related to Destiny or Doom, if you will.
The concept of Doom. I think that's why it didn't do as well as it was people didn't quite understand the concept of Doom. It's more abstract. I don't know. That was my theory, because those episodes fucking rule, and I love them.
They're awesome. We did one on oaths, one on prophecies, and one on
curses.
On curses.
Yes,
which they're so much fun. Go check them out.
Check those out. Yeah.
So Finrod, at this point, he's realizing he's not going to be able to do this alone. If he's probably going to die anyway, but if he's going to have any hope of getting it done, he's going to need some help. So he calls on the help of his chieftains.
Yeah. So he goes before his people and reminds them of the deeds of Barahir and how clutch that shit was in the Bragalac. And he reminds them of the oath that he took to Barahir as well. He reminds his people of that.
Yeah, and in a risky move, he actually comes out and publicly confesses his intentions to help Beren on his quest to get a Silmaril. This is pretty risky to throw out there, especially with the Sons of Feanor being there.
Right there.
And as a response, Celegorm stood and he went off on an angry monologue in front of the crowd, like a, street politician,
Right.
reiterating the oath of Feanor that all his brothers had sworn. Curufin followed, spoke to the crowd, and convinced them that helping Beren would only lead to war and the ruin of Nargothrond. But, maybe they were just jealous that someone's going for a Silmaril?
Yeah.
They won't let anyone else go for their Silmarils.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, the crowd starts to murmur, saying that Finrod, he's only a king, he's not a god. He can't really force them to do anything they don't want to do.
Right. They get real anarchist all of a sudden when they have to be marched off to death.
Right.
So they conceive a plan to usurp the leadership of Nargothrond from Felagund.
Yeah, so this is when the two brothers, the two of the Sons of Feanor, this is when they get a plan. Because they're like, they see this discourse going on. They're like, we can take advantage of this. And they thought that they could use their influence to pretty much kill any support for the king so that King Felagund would have to go out on this quest without any help and hopefully get killed, leaving rule of the kingdom kind of up to them.
Yeah, because the only hope is to have a contingency of homies to help you, right? Like, this is the only way. And he's just like, nope. Like, I don't want him to have any help. I want him to be totally fucked out there.
Especially considering where they're going.
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Nobody goes there.
Yeah.
And so when no one would agree to help Finrod on this quest, he became angry, and he threw his crown on the ground, yelling, "Your oaths of faith to me you may break, but I must hold my bond. Yet, if there be any whom the shadow of our curse has not yet fallen, I should find at least a few to follow me, and should not go hence as a beggar that is thrust from the gates."
Ooh, lay it on him. Beggar thrust from the gates. So he inspires at least 10 of his men. He gets 10 elves to basically have a change of heart, and they volunteer to help the king on his quest.
That doesn't sound like very many.
It's not.
Compared to the present population of Nargothrond,
right, he's the king of the kingdom of Nargothrond, and he's only got 10
people willing to
10
help
people.
him.
Dude, fuck you, Feanor. You really turned a lot of people in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
It's true, yeah. And yeah, Celegorm and Curufin, they had such a heavy sway on the people at this time, so it's like, it was rough going.
Shitty.
But one of these 10 elves that agreed to help, they stooped down and they picked up the crown off the floor, and they reverently requested that the king not renounce his crown, but instead give it to a steward during his absence. So that's when Felagund agrees that in his absence the crown would go to Orodreth, his nephew. Note, not his brother.
It's a common misconception, yeah.
And I believe in the published version of the Silmarillion it is said...
It originally said brother.
Brother.
Mm-hmm.
But that is actually something that was corrected when the Beren and Lúthien book came out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's... How
important is that?
Because it is actually important.
It has to do with bloodlines and things.
Well, it also has to do with continuity in Lord of the Rings, because Gildor and Glorian claims to be of the House of Finrod. And Finrod doesn't have a son. So it's like, how did this whole bloodline thing from Gildor to Finrod, how did it work, right? But anyway, Orodreth is actually the son of Angnor, right? I think the son of Finarfin. There's two other sons of Finarfin, Angnor and Angrod, and they're both killed. They both get iced.
The elven family lines get a little confusing in my mind.
I can't remember. He's Angnor or Angrod's son, one of the two. But that's, so he's Finrod is his uncle.
Anyway, so something that was amended from the canon, so I just wanted to clarify that.
Yes.
Or not amended from the canon, amended from the Silmarillion, so.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if they ever do a new version, if they'll change it.
I don't know.
You think they would?
So, in autumn of that year, King Felagund and Beren finally set out from Nargothrond with their 10 companions out on their mission to help Beren.
So they number, 12?
The number 12 total.
Oh, yeah, a dozen people.
A dozen.
A dozen to go to...
to go all the way to Angband.
To break the League of Angband.
And get a Silmaril, yeah.
Already sounds bad.
Good luck. So they start by traveling north. So they start heading north towards the Path of Sirion, which is where they got to go to get up towards Angband.
Near the shadowy mountains, they encountered a band of orcs, and they killed them quietly, right? They took their clothes and the gear and Felagund cast a spell on them to make them look like orcs, which is it's pretty cool that he can do that.
Pretty cool magic.
Yeah, Felagund. He's got that magic. Like he's Galadriel's brother. You know.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So he's pretty magical.
Yeah, these sons of Finarfin, these children of Finarfin seem to have like a higher proclivity for magic and shit like that than other elves seem to.
I'd say that's probably true.
Yeah,
Extra dense.
From what we see so far.
Yeah.
I mean, with Finrod and Galadriel being your kids, I'd say.
both super magical elves,
Mhm.
like particularly magical elves, right?
So now in disguise as orcs, the 12 of them, they attempt to make their way through the guarded pass of Sirion. But in the pass of Sirion, there is a watchtower on this little island in a river. The island's called Tol Sirion. And in this watchtower, that's where Sauron lives at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And the island has actually recently been known as Tolan Galroth, the Isle of Werewolves, because, Sauron loves his Halloween creatures.
Right, and it was originally built by, we learned this earlier in the episode, actually, if y'all recall. It was built by Felagund, and I think Orodreth commanded it at one point, because he was the one that abandoned it when Sauron took over, and Sauron's been posting up there ever since.
Ever since the Bragalog.
Yep.
Yeah, so I suppose it's kind of bittersweet that now King Finrod Felagund has to sneak past the
His own
watchtower
tower.
that he built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a bitter reminder.
Shitty, right?
Well, from this watchtower, that's where Sauron is, He noticed their little band of orcs because they were moving quickly. Like, they were doing things other packs should be like, they weren't doing other things that they should be doing, like checking in.
They weren't acting casual enough.
They weren't they weren't acting casual enough. They weren't drinking enough grog.
Right.
So
they probably
Sauron
smelled too good.
they smelled too
Like,
good.
do you smell perfume, like lavender and like, what does that smell? Like shampoo.
They're probably pretty bad at the accent too,
Yeah, they don't speak orc like that.
So Sauron has him captured and brought before him for questioning, of course, like Sauron is wont to do.
Yeah, man, talk about a roadblock right off the bat.
Hey, we got this sick magic. We can disguise ourselves as orcs. We'll walk right through. No problem.
Nope.
Sauron sees right through it.
Yeah, while questioning the group, Sauron is just straight up able to detect that there's some sort of magic disguising them. He can feel it.
Feel it in his bones.
So he tries to strip them of their disguises using magic. But Felagund did everything he could to prevent this. And what has befallen, KOT has lovingly coined the sing-song battle. And if you're a longtime listener, you will know that we call it that. This is when Finrod, Felagund, and Sauron have a war of words, really.
It's a magical battle of like magic and sorcery, but done through like song.
Isn't that kind of like what Gandalf and Saruman do at the...
I guess they're not singing songs at each other, but
I guess
it is
they're
kind
just
of
words, but fair enough.
Yeah, so for sometimes I still refer to it as the sing-song battle, like in public, thinking that
People won't know, unless
thinking that that's a widely accepted thing. But I keep forgetting that that's just something we call it.
of course, because what we're about to read, this excerpt we're about to read from the Lay of Lúthien, I always think of this particular excerpt when I think of, quote, the sing-song battle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually, in the Silmarillion, they don't even paraphrase it; they just put this. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Joel's gonna read it. It's from Lays of Beleriand, Lay of Lúthien. Check it out.
He chanted a song of wizardry, of piercing, opening, of treachery, revealing, uncovering, betraying. Then, sudden, Felagund there swaying, sang in answer a song of staying, resisting, battling against power, of secrets kept, and strength like a tower. Trust unbroken, freedom, escape, of changing and of shifting shape, of snares eluded, broken traps, the prison opening, the chain that snaps. Backwards and forwards swayed their song, reeling and foundering, as ever more strong, the chanting swelled, Felagund fought, and all the magic and might he brought of elvenness into his words. Softly in the gloom they heard the birds, singing afar in Nargothrond, the sighing of the sea beyond the western world on sand of pearls in elven land. Then, the gloom gathered, darkness growing. In Valinor, the red blood flowing beside the sea, where the Noldor slew the foam riders, and stealing drew their white ships with their white sails. From lamplit havens the wind wails, the wolf howls, the ravens flee, the ice mutters in the mouths of the sea. The captives in Angband sad mourn, thunder rumbles, the fires burn, and Finrod fell before the throne.
And as a result of this sing-song battle, Finrod is beaten, and so their disguises are stripped.
I mean, he was doomed from the start. I mean, this guy, Sauron, think about it. This guy, he sang in the friggin' Eindalindale.
That's true.
Eindalindale.
That's true. He did, didn't he?
The first ever friggin' song. That's the Chicago accent, by the way, if you Midwesterners are keeping track at home, right? Anyway, yeah, that happened.
I didn't even realize that. Yeah, no, he did sing in the Eindalindale.
He sure friggin' did.
He would probably be the superior singer. Aside from the fact he's also, a Maiar, and Felagund's an elf, so gonna overpower him probably anyway.
But, aren't they kind of doomed regardless? Even if their battle didn't result in Sauron finding out.
It's true, they're already captured.
They're already
right.
captured and, suspicious. He's probably just going to kill him.
I suppose you're true. But ultimately, Finrod was beaten, and their disguises were stripped from them, and they were left completely naked in front of Sauron.
Nude.
But even though they were now naked, and Sauron now knew that they're not orcs, Sauron did not know who they were or what they were trying to do.
So it wasn't a total loss.
So it wasn't a total loss, but now he knew, I've got 11 elves and a man here, but
what's going on?
What the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine being Sauron and seeing a bunch of ugly orcs in front of you and just being like what's worse, seeing that or a bunch of naked dudes just out of nowhere?
These are naked elves, man. They'd be beautiful.
Even sure they'd be
but does Sauron care about that?
Oh, yes.
Do you think elves are kind of like...
Sauron has an appreciation for the elf form, I'm sure, dude.
Oh, you think?
Mm-hmm.
You think maybe he's just but I can't.
Well, he's just, that's his problem, man. That no, but he's got a thing for perfection and efficiency, right? So,
it's true. He does take the form of an elf.
A well-crafted body would be up his alley.
I mean, he does take the form of... He does take Anatar, which is an elf form.
That's true.
Yeah. He believes the elves are sexy. You know
and
what
then
I mean?
when he gets taken to Valinor, he also puts that on again. Fair elven form. Anyway.
He might have a favorite.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, he's not being real nice right now. So he has stripped them down naked, and he decides to torture them. So he throws them naked down into a dark pit where there's a werewolf that periodically eats them alive, one by one.
And guess what, guys? That's the end of part 1. That's where we're going to leave you.
That's where we're going to leave you for part 1. Part 1 of Beren and Lúthien.
Literally being fed to the wolves, these guys.
Literally.
You thought this was a love story? No, it ends in tragedy.
No, it's
werewolves
a horror
eat
story.
the main characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Psych, that's not the end of the story.
Nope, that's the first half of Beren and Lúthien. You'll get the second half next episode. So tune in next week for episode 101. But
tune into that, please.
Thanks for listening to our 100th episode, everybody.
Triple digits, guys.
Oh, yeah. We're having a celebration here with this second half of season 8. We've got a whole bunch more of fun bullshit like this coming up for you. So if you like this episode... Yeah, you might want to, especially don't listen to those assholes from episode 1000. This is going to be good content.
This is going to be good, okay?
Yeah. Those old fucks, I mean...
They don't know shit.
They seem pretty Catholic, you know what I mean?
Clearly they're not good podcasters.
Well, they're not Catholic anymore.
Not anymore, they're not. It's true. So, I don't know. But... I don't know. I love Beren and Lúthien, and
Me too.
Just setting up the tale is always really fun. It's crazy how much info we need to cover just to set up the story, just to get the context.
Yep.
Well, and this version of it is just so much more intertwined with everything that's going on in Middle Earth.
That's the difference between the newest canon version and the older versions widely is that it is much more integrated into the overall legendarium, this version.
Oh, yeah. And we'll talk all about those differences all of the differences between the canon version and the earlier versions. We'll talk about those in part 3 of Beren and Lúthien. So
Oh, I'm really
double
excited.
stay tuned for that later.
Yep, and that's pretty much how this whole series is going to go going forward. So it's going to be a lore train. Buckle up, take a ride. People all the world, join hands. It's a lore train. Lore train. Yes.
Lore train. That was a Love Train.
Love Train reference.
Love
the song.
Love. It took me a minute.
The popular song. Love Train.
The popular song Love Train.
Yeah, I heard it in a beer commercial, I think. Coors Light, I believe. We also final thought. We also love how much the character of Lúthien was based on Edith Tolkien.
I always thought that was just beautiful.
Yeah, he must have thought really highly of her because she's a great character.
No wonder he rewrote the story multiple times.
Yeah.
He's like, it doesn't meet her standard.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's crazy to be inspired by love to create a great character and
It's beautiful.
make some great
And that's
art.
why
It's
we
awesome.
wanted to include a little bit of Beren and Lúthien shit in our wedding readings and stuff like that.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, because it is. A lot of people will like say it's the greatest love story ever told. A lot of people in the Tolkien community refer to it as that sometimes.
And I mean, just the fact, that it was based on real life Edith.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It means a lot. It's
Because
great.
we all have loves. We all have significant others, right? Like we know we've loved.
We love, guys.
We get it, but
love.
love. You know what I mean? So next week.
Yeah, so tune in next week for episode 101, where we will continue our Great Tales of the Elder Days saga with part 2 of Beren and Lúthien.
Hell yes. Cannot wait. Thank you for listening to KOT Podcast. Please subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. Stay up to date on new episodes, and please rate or give us a nice review on whatever platform you like. That would be great. Also, check out our new website. Trev's been putting a lot of work into it. It is simply keepontolkien.com. Very easy. Everything you need to know about Keep On Tolkien is there. You can join the Discord there, right, Trev? You can. There's all kinds of the merch store is there. All of it. Check it out.
And a big thank you to our patrons on Patreon. You can subscribe to us on Patreon to not only support us, but also unlock some exclusive content for fun. You can go check that out at patreon.com/KOT podcast. We also accept private one-time donations if that's more your speed. Let us know. We have PayPal and other services. We can work something out. We just appreciate anything you're willing to give. Thank you.
And if you'd like to see more of us, give us a follow on our different social media platforms. As Danny mentioned, Discord, we'll have a link in the description and on our website. That's where most of our chatter goes, and we like chatting with everybody and all the funny memes that end up popping up there.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we're also on TikTok at keep_on_Tolkien_podcast.
Yeah, I've been throwing a lot of effort into that lately. I've been meeting some cool ass fucking people on there, and I know some of you are now listening to the podcast because you found us on there. And thank you, a special thank you to you guys. This is 100th episode.
Yeah,
Welcome.
Welcome.
You're a little late, but better late.
Well,
Better late than never. You know what I mean?
And some of them have already joined the Discord.
Yes,
and
a
we've
couple of
already
you.
been discussing things. It's
yeah,
awesome.
a couple. Yeah, other content creators have joined the Discord recently. Yeah, fucking cool. It's
The
super,
Tolkieneering is off the charts.
the Tolkieneering is off the charts on there lately, guys. You really got to check it out.
Join the conversation. Join the community.
Yeah, join the cult. Join the
cult. Join the
us.
cult.
Join the hive mind.
Wonderful.
That was beautiful. Well done.
Well, to join that hive mind, the other places you can find us, we're on X, formerly Twitter, at KOT Podcast. We're on Facebook at official Keep On Tolkien. And we're on Instagram at Keep On Tolkien Podcast. We also have a merch store, as Danny mentioned, that's easier to find on our website, keepontolkien.com, because it's just a link. But if you would like to type it all out...
Yeah, fuck it. They want to access it directly, dude. You know what I mean?
Go straight there.
It's keep-on-tolkien-podcast.gmail.com. It's a lot to remember.
Can't get to that merch fast enough.
Yeah, keepontolkien.com. Remember that one. It's easier.
Way faster.
Go there. But everybody, holy shit, 100 episodes. This has been a long one, too. I had a fuckload of fun today. And we're going to have fun for quite a few more episodes this run, you guys. Prepare for more of this bullshit. I am Danny J.
And I'm Joel N.
Trevor D.
And together we are, as always,
Keep on Tolkien.
Are we into love?
That was good. We laughed, we cried, all kinds of things. Great show.
2 takes.
2 takes?
Only two.
Only 2.